Experiencing and seeing improvements made for millions of people traveling daily makes me proud to be a part of it. It can be a tough job and we don't always get it right, but we are committed to putting our customers first. Investing in continuous improvements of our services so that you may experience a safe and comfortable journey. We are proud to serve the major cities and be a part of its future, connecting people and businesses for many years and generations to come. Today, I am part of a better tomorrow.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ashmah Hidayat Ahmad Bakri. Now I will present about introduction. Strategic management entails the continuous planning, monitoring, analysis, and evaluation of all requirements that a company requires in order to achieve its goal and objective. Organizations must continually evaluate their strategies for success as their business environment change. The strategic management process aids businesses in assessing their current condition, devising strategies, implementing them, and evaluating their effectiveness. There are 5 fundamental strategic management tactics, each of which we can implemented differently depending on the content, and both on-premises and mobile platform benefit from strategic management. The strategic management process consists of 3 stages: strategic formulation, strategic implementation, and strategic evaluation. Strategic formulation includes developing a vision and mission, identifying an organization's external opportunities and threats, determining internal strength and weakness, establish long-term objective, generating alternative strategies, and choosing particular strategies to pursue. Strategic formulation issues include deciding what new businesses to enter, what businesses to abandon, whether to expand operation or diversify, whether to enter international markets, whether to merge or form a joint venture, and how to avoid hostile takeover. The process of setting plans and goals into action is known as strategy implementation. These techniques are designed to aid a company to enriching long-term objectives. In simple terms, strategic implementation is a means by which a company can expand. It implements and integrates new techniques into an organization's framework. This guarantees that the culture, resources, people, and system all follow the defined strategies. In competitive industries, strategic implementation can driving elements for a company's or organization brands. Wherever a company offers its goods and services effectively and raises essential operating cash, can strategic industries, strategic implementation can driving elements for a company's or organization brands. Wherever a company offers its goods and services effectively and raises essential operating cash, can strategic be executed successfully. The issue related to Prasarana Malaysia Berhad is a major LRT management accident where a head-on collision occurred between a manually driven empty train and automatic train carrying people on the Kelana Jaya line between Kampung Baru and KLCC station in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on May 24, 2021. The Kelana Jaya Light Rail Transit LRT collisions were caused by a failure to follow essential standard operating procedure SOP. The unmanned time-out Train 40 suffered technical difficulties according to the findings of the investigation committee reports. Resuscitation. This was first collision on the Kelana Jaya line since its opened in 1998, and it was also Malaysian Worst Railway Accidents Report. . Okay, now I will explain about organization background. The government-owned Prasarana Malaysia Berhad Prasarana was established in 1998 by the Ministry of Finance to facilitate, undertake and expedite public infrastructure projects. In 2002, it became completely functioning. Prasarana is responsible for the management and operation of 4 rail networks in Klang Valley: LRT Ampang Line, LRT Kelana Jaya Line, KL Monorail Line, and MRT Sungai Buloh Kajang Line, as well as bus services in Klang Valley, Penang, Kuantan, and the BRT Sunway Line. Malaysia's public transportation system and services are being transformed by Prasarana Malaysia Berhad. On July 50, 2021, Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim was named chairman of Prasarana. Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim has over 40 years of professional experience with 60 years in information technology and 23 years in telecommunication services. He has also worked in the public and private sectors, particularly in education outside of ICT. Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim earned his BSc in Public Administration with a minor in Mathematics from California State University, Chico in 1978 and his MBA with a specialization in Quantitative Methods and Portland State University, Oregon in 1980. He also studied Management Science or Operation Research for a year at Oregon State University for his MSc. Besides that, Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim also has received various medals and honors from local and international organizations over the years in recognition of his services and accomplishments. The CEO of the Year 2000 by American Express and Business Time Malaysia, as well as the Communication CEO of the Year by Telecom Asia Awards 2010 and the Frost and Sullivan Asia Pacific ICT Award 2010 were among them. In 2050, the GSM Association GSMA presented Jamaluddin with the coveted worldwide accolade, the Chairman Award for exceptional personnel contributing significantly to the development and growth of mobile communication around the world. The vision of Prasarana Malaysia Berhad is connectivity and mobility for all, and the vision of Prasarana Malaysia Berhad is to increase public transportation usage through reliable, affordable, provision, integrated and dynamic services on sustainable basis. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
Now we go to the SWOT analysis in Prasarana. The first point is strength. Prasarana has excellent creative innovation ideas and they continue to improve exciting facility while also providing personal conveniences to the public. The high-tech disabled amenity as well as a separate seat or place for elderly or pregnant people. Prasarana eco-friendly buses in BRT project are another example of innovation. Next year, Malaysia's first electronic buses will be introduced. Furthermore, they have their own educational institutions such as Pride, Prime, and Praise to oversee all the aspects of management for services such as improvement management, engineering, and expansion project. Prasarana Group Managing Director Shahril Motarsai has stated that Prasarana potential has led to economic partnership with countries such as Saudi Arabia, Korea, and Turkey. It increases Prasarana profitability. Then, for the weaknesses in Prasarana, the cash flow and business transactions at Prasarana are complicated. According to RAM Holding, Prasarana remained in the red for the financial year ended on December 31, 2014. As of the end of last year, Prasarana indebtedness total RM 13.91 billion, up from RM 11.91 billion at the end of 2013. Prasarana has experienced significant operational losses due to low fare, high operational costs, and unprofitable routes. Then the second weaknesses is lack of safety awareness that extend beyond financial transaction. Two people were killed in LRT accident in 2014 during the Ampang Extension project. A motorist was murdered and another was seriously injured by falling column in a separate event that occurred in 2013. And for the opportunity in Prasarana is, according to corporate Berhad, Prasarana is a government-owned financial support company. Prasarana has established Prasarana Integrated Development Sinar Berhad, which is responsible for improving services, Prasarana Integrated Management Engineering Services Sinar Berhad, Prime, and Prasarana Rail and Infrastructure Project Sinar Berhad, PRACE, which is responsible for expansion project. Then the power of buyer refer to the company negotiating power. It's influenced by the number of purchaser. It signifies that buyer power has an impact on company profitability. Because Prasarana is a Malaysia's largest public transportation businesses, buyers have a limited bargaining power. Everyone requires public transit on a daily basis. Customers will not barter for rates on trains or public buses because they are standard and affordable to people of all ages. In addition, because Malaysia has a few options for goods and services related to the public transportation, buyer bargaining power is limited. Then we go to the threat in Prasarana, which is the impact of COVID-19 and the Movement Control Order (MCO). Prasarana Malaysia Berhad expect a 40% decline in passenger ridership in 2021 for both rail and bus services. Despite being allowed to operate at full capacity in June 2021, the company CEO Muhammad Nizam alias believes the reduction is unavoidable. During the first phase of MCO, the state multimodal public transportation operator lost a considerable number of users, with passenger number dropping by half, causing Prasarana to reduce service frequency. Despite the government effort to relax movement restriction, Prasarana losses during the MCO period are unlikely to be covered by the current ridership statistic. Moreover, the government future financial assistance is uncertain. Malaysia has no choice but to confront the financial crisis, according to the economic lecturer Dato Dr. Muhammad Arif, because of its enormous debt and ongoing budget deficit. It made Prasarana long-term ambition insecure and dangerous. Furthermore, some of the events are uncontrollable. It is possible to avoid incidents but they are unpredictable. Although safety is prioritized in Prasarana construction, human error is unforeseeable.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maisha Ardi, and I will continue our presentation with the first issue faced by Prasarana in technical faults. Technical problems can be defined as the unplanned equipment issues such as hardware breakdown or software defects that make performing a desired operation difficult or impossible. Thus, it is important to make sure that the rail infrastructure system is in a good condition to avoid technical faults. This is because rail infrastructure is widely recognized as being extremely complicated, especially to the widespread use of technology and system. The study of MRT by Badam mentions that inefficient services, delays and cancellations, a restricted network, loss of connectivity and continuity of public transportation modes, and major congestion difficulties in the rail network, public transportation in the Klang Valley. These concerns result in unsatisfactory of public transportation use, making the city less appealing while the overcrowding problem. Critical effects of the technical fault made by Prasarana face the issue of the LRT connection. The issue that Prasarana faced was communication failure between the operation control center OCC and the hostler driver. Communication failure is a message that is unintentionally deceptive, ineffectual or offensive. MRT and LRT system rely on two-way continuous and constant communications between train operators and the control center as a critical safety component. In this situation, the miscommunication happened when the driver did not report the track section numbers. The OCC would have been able to pinpoint the train's exact location and their direction if the OCC and the hostler had had done so. The OCC was unable to regulate the train if this reporting did not occur, that those in charge of the control center should have done. The problem that Prasarana faced was incompetence leadership. Leaders have a significant impact on how their subordinate view themselves and their employment. A poor leader-subordinate relationship, for example, a lack of support, effective communication, or feedback has been found to diminish individual well-being and is one of the most stressful working conditions. For example, in this case study, the Ministry of Finance announced that Tajuddin Abdul Rahman, the chairman of train operator Prasarana, had his service terminated immediately. This comes after members of the public criticized Tajuddin during a press conference during the recent LRT train incident near KLCC station. Datuk Sri Tajuddin Abdul Rahman was also alleged to have insulted and berated a foreign journalist who posed questions during the news conference, in addition to his flippant remarks and effort to make jokes about the tragedy. Furthermore, the Pasir Salak MP absence of an immediate statement and on-site attendance caused the Public Transport User Association for PM to ask for Tajuddin's resignation. But Tajuddin responded with a heated retort, warning the doctors not to provoke him by questioning his sincerity. Besides that, Tajuddin was also observed without a face protection and on one occasion. When speaking to journalists, he removed his mask, prompting a police investigation for breaking health standard operating procedures in crowded public spaces. The government has made it mandatory to wear a face mask. Last but not least, the last issues that Prasarana needs to face with is when the public loses confidence in using the LRT. The incident and its aftermath are representative of the country's terrible public transport situation. A lot of factors could have contributed to the crash, including human error, inadequate maintenance, and equipment malfunction or failure, causes by poor maintenance. Possibly, passenger satisfaction can help maintain current passengers while also attracting new ones. Passenger satisfaction in public transportation refers to how well the service meets the passengers' expectations or demands. Furthermore, the LRT crash could have shattered people's faith in public transportation. It is moreover, to make matters worse, the incidents occurred during a COVID-19 outbreak in the country, adding to the load of frontline workers, particularly in hospitals that were struggling to keep up with the influx of new cases since the enforcement of the MCO in March. The COVID-19 pandemic has wreaked havoc on public transportation, with ridership dropping by about 40%. The tragedy, which was caused by a variety of factors, including technical issues, has made many people realize that while train travel is considered one of the safe ways of transportation, accidents do happen. It is also added to the difficulty faced by public transportation operators in restoring public faith in the safety of the service following a 40% drop in passenger ridership at the one side of the pandemic.
So now I'm going to discuss about the strategic plan taken by Prasarana's Malaysia Sdn Bhd to overcome the problem. So the first strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome the technical faults that happened during the LRT collision accident is by implementing technical evaluation of the standard operating procedure SOP as soon as possible, as proposed by the Ministry of Transport Malaysia. The proposal was presented by the investigation committee during the cabinet meeting to examine the factors and main causes of the tragic accident that occurred involving two trains from different stations on the Kelana Jaya line. This is because the government takes these tragic accidents seriously as it involves public citizens of Malaysia and has instructed the Ministry of Transport to make every effort to evaluate as well as revise the safety and operating protocols as well, and also its guidelines in the rail service and asset maintenance of Prasarana Malaysia Berhad and Rapid Rail Sdn Bhd. So one of the suggestions of the improvement focuses on the technical evaluation that needed to be implemented by Prasarana Malaysia Berhad and Rapid Rail Sdn Bhd were accepted by the cabinet meeting, and in order to expedite this systemic yet comprehensive reform, and the Ministry of Transport will also assess and evaluate the development of these improvements on a regular basis. Furthermore, Prasarana also might establish a safety committee to inspect directional sign and rail markers, as well as safety committee to present safety audit to Prasarana and Rapid Rail top management for monitoring and evaluation. So the establishment of safety committee will have Prasarana as well as rapid top management to assess and evaluate any difficulties related to the technical which could be potential to jeopardize and harm the safety of the public. So among the SOP that Prasarana needs to focus are firstly SOP when there is facility and infrastructure disruption and only will be used during critical situations such as when a train starts to break down or a railway have disturbance such as damaged rail and so on. Secondly, another SOP where Prasarana needs to focus is the need to use emergency power off. Emergency power off function as the button on the electric to switch off the electric current of the train will face an emergency situation because the electric train on the rails uses a very high voltage of electricity. So the second strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome the problem faced, which is communication breakdown between the operation control center OCC and the hostler, which is the driver, which happened during the LRT collision accident, is as for the short-term improvement. The Ministry of Transport proposed for Prasarana to assign 2 hostlers to manually control the train when in a tunnel, with the second hostler be in charge of as a safety and compliance officer. By having 2 hostlers when control the train manually, it would decrease the potential to be involved in an accident because there is communication between the hostler. Aside from that, high power flashlight must be provided to the hostler to assist during their operation while in a tunnel, and a checklist must be established for both the hostler and OCC in order to utilize and easily guide them, especially during the manual operation and crucial situation. Other than that, Prasarana and Rapid Risk Communication Plan SOP also needed to be improved for all level of employees' knowledge and understanding. Thus, the OCC and the hostler handbook and manuals must be updated, and job safety analysis (JSS) must be implemented on every staff recruitment, including existing staff in the safety critical position category for effectiveness and understanding. The improved communication plan SOP implemented by Prasarana aims to ensure there will be no same incident happen in the future where the train is coordinated when manually driving with the control center. Hence, it is crucial for all the Prasarana staff, especially the hostler, to understand and be aware of the communication plan SOP when operating the system, because communication is the key in ensuring the safety of the passenger. The third strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome the problem, which is incompetence leadership, was by terminating Datuk Sri Tajuddin Abdul Rahman from his post as Prasarana Malaysia Berhad Chairman, that effective immediately due to his unprofessional remark made during the press conference. The termination of Datuk Sri Tajuddin Abdul Rahman was confirmed by the Ministry of Finance and signed by the Minister of Finance Tengku Datuk Sri Zafar Abdul Aziz. The unprofessional remarks made by Datuk Sri Tajuddin Abdul Rahman has drawn many heavy criticism from the public as it shows his lack of empathy for the victims of the tragedy and his lack of professionalism when handling questions from the press. Thus, his lack of sensitivity towards the victims of the LRT collision has shown that he was not qualified to hold the position as Prasarana Chairman. By terminating Datuk Sri Tajuddin Rahman, it showed that Prasarana Malaysia Berhad does not tolerate with any insensitive and rude behaviour, especially by its leader who represent the organisation and supposedly to give a good image to the public when handling an issue. Furthermore, as a leader of a well-known organisation, it is important for being sensitive and empathetic towards the member of the public during a crisis because it helps build the trust. His unprofessional remark and action had caused the public to lose trust in the organisation and condemn his capability and credibility as Prasarana Chairman. Thus, the termination also showed that the organisation put the public as its top priority in delivering and providing. So, the fourth strategic plan taken by Prasarana in order to restore public confidence is by providing periodic updates on the implementation of the betterment measure, especially on the immediate measure. According to the interim group president and interim CEO Datin Nolia Noah, this is a very significant service and activity for the urban people in re-establishing public confidence in the LRT Kelana Jaya line. The urgent improvements are based on the LRT collision incident investigation committee proposed 23 improvements. Prasarana also must immediately take action to ensure that its standard operating procedure SOP for the Kelana Jaya LRT service, which operate automatically without a driver, are in compliance with the international standard and existing SOP. Furthermore, Datin Nolia Noah also stated that every Sunday evening, a various type of small emergency response preparedness (ERP) training will be undertaken with a focus on recovering malfunction trains and operating them in manual mode, especially in tight areas such as tunnel and viaducts. The training will be conducted with Malaysian authorities such as the police, the fire and rescue department, and the civil defence force to enhance the skill and knowledge set in limited spaces during emergency emergency using a stricter SOP. In addition, in order to regain public trust, the hostler training will be upgraded with more developing skills and certification being implemented to guarantee that the personnel remain efficient, effective, current as well as competent. Now I'm going to continue discuss on evaluation on the strategy taken by the Prasarana. So based on the strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome technical problem, which is implemented technical evaluation on the SOP, it can be seen that the strategic plan taken has helped Prasarana to improve its technical problem involving LRT services to the public transport user, because according to the Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Kan Seong, the 5 steps that have been proposed by the investigating committee of the Ministry of Transport were executed only within 3 months time frame required by the law. Aside from that rapid rate, as the operator of Prasarana rail services also have made significant progress in implementing 11 medium-term measures which must be completed in 3 to 6 months. As a result of this progress and achievement, Prasarana and also the Ministry of Transport have been able to continue to improve the security and the safety of the passenger and user of their services. Furthermore, by improving the technical evaluation of the SOP has helped Prasarana to identify any technical problem easily when faced with the same incident in the future, and have knowledge on how to overcome the problems by understanding the do's and don'ts following the SOP provided. So this is because technical problem will always become the unexpected major problem when handling and dealing with technology, since it involves system instead of human error. However, it can be avoided and the risk can be minimized if proper guidelines and procedures are being followed and right action are being taken by Prasarana. Hence, it shows that the strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome the technical problem from happening again has successfully helped Prasarana to improve their services by solving any technical related problem to ensure the passenger safety and also security. Based on the second strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome communication breakdown between the OCC and the hostler, which is by assigning 2 hostlers to manually control the train, it has helped the OCC and the hostler to have a clear communication, especially when manually control the train. This is because communication between Operation Control Center, OCC and the hostler is vital when controlling the train manually in order to prevent any interference which could make the train go in the wrong direction and collide with another train for the opposite direction, when lead to an accident. So by assigning 2 hostlers when controlling the train manually, it can help to minimize the risk of being involved in an accident, because when a hostler is controlling the train, another hostler will help to monitor the security and safety procedure. It also have both Operation Control Center and the hostler to keep updating the current situation in the train or when experiencing an emergency situation. Furthermore, clear communication between OCC and the hostler when manually controlling the train has helped the Prasarana to perform and undertake risk evaluation between the OCC and the hostler easily on the communication equipment. Hence, from the strategic plan taken by the Prasarana to overcome the communication breakdown between Operation Control Center and the hostler, it shows that the strategic plan implemented give a good impact because it was done efficiently and effectively, as the progress of the implementation show a good progress and was implemented as stipulated by the Ministry of Transport. Referring to the third strategic plan taken by Prasarana to overcome incompetence leadership problem, which is termination of the leader due to the unprofessional remark, it can be seen that following the dismissal of Prasarana of Malaysian Berhad former chairman Datuk Sri Tajuddin Abdul Rahman for making unprofessional and insensitive remark during the LRT collision incident press conference, Prasarana Malaysia Berhad has appointed Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim, who was the former president and group CEO of Axiata Group Berhad for 12 years, as its new group chairman, effective starting on 15th July 2021. Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim, who are now the new chairman of Prasarana Malaysia Berhad, has vast and incredible experience in running large organizations in terms of operations, management and administration, as well as his engagement in establishing policy and initiative, especially for the public sector. Apart from that, Tan Sri Jamaluddin Ibrahim appointment also was in keeping with the government goals for Prasarana to become more self-sufficient and boost the sources of revenue other than fair revenue, as well as involved into a successful government on cooperation. Prasarana is confident in completing its purpose of successfully implementing transformation in the public transportation system, promoting economic growth and becoming a catalyst for reviving business and commercial sector, grew with the appointment of its new chairman. Moreover, the appointment of a new chairman has helped Prasarana to show its professionalism, credibility as well as trustworthiness as a good organisation that puts the public first in every decision made. So based on the fourth strategic plan taken by Prasarana, which is to provide periodic updates of the implementation of the betterment measure, it can be seen that through the regular periodic updates on the implementation of the betterment measure by Prasarana since the LRT coalition accident on May, it has helped Prasarana to gain back public confidence in using the LRT and experience its services again. Ever since the bad LRT coalition accident happened, which injured many passengers, many members of the public fear of using the LRT as they think that the same incident will happen, and this is the reason why the public lost their confidence in Prasarana. Nevertheless, in order to gain and increase the public confidence in using LRT and continue believing in its services, Prasarana has taken an effective and efficient plan where Prasarana continuously provided periodic updates on the implementation of the betterment measure for the public to see what action Prasarana has taken, improvement that have been done, as well as the progress of the strategic plan implemented. Furthermore, by continuously updating the implementation of the betterment measure taken, the public is aware that the investigation involving the LRT coalition accident done by Prasarana is full of transparency, and Prasarana does not take the incident lightly. Hence, the strategic plan taken by Prasarana to increase the public confidence in using LRT becomes successful because the public still continue using LRT despite the issue faced by the Prasarana, which shows that the public still have faith in Prasarana to deliver good services and for its user.
The first suggestion for Prasarana to face the problem of technical problem is to do regular technical maintenance. This is because trains need specific storage and maintenance facilities. Technical maintenance may not be glamorous but is critical to the smooth operation of Prasarana's complicated train network. The effect of maintenance must be measured in order to monitor and manage the performance of rail infrastructure in accordance with objective, which is done using indicators such as indicators of reliability, availability, maintainability, and maintenance supportability. A suggestion for Prasarana to upgrade in order to avoid more communication failure next time is to make sure that Prasarana provides an emergency standard operating procedure (SOP) to the staff and passengers. The process is the most critical aspect of an LRT train incident response. When an emergency happens, the method carried out in an emergency is something that is promptly implemented. Prasarana and Rapid Rail's Communication Plan (SOP) regarded as the most important for all levels of employees' understanding, which means Prasarana needs to update the OCC and the Hostler rule books and manual. And Prasarana can use job safety analysis (JSA) on each staff recruitment, including existing staff in the safety critical position category for efficiency and knowledge. A good emergency standard operating procedure will give the company minimum consistency. The most important reason for processes is to ensure that an individual performs a task or activity consistently. The more consistent a procedure is from one person to the next, the lower the risk of quality issues. The solution for the Prasarana problem is to train a leader that encourages strategies, thinking, innovation, and action. This is because a leader must consider internal organizational factors such as product road needs and staffing needs, as well as external factors, including government regulation and technology advancement, when making strategic business decisions. A leader should maintain a flexible mindset and be willing to try new ideas. This is especially true for leaders at startup, where company goals are frequently changing and rigid plan may be hard to follow. Training the employees in the organization to become a leader is one of the various ways that can help the Prasarana to improve the team's culture and productivity. In understanding how the way a leader acts and the importance of training the leader, it can help Prasarana to decide what type of leadership training is best for the Prasarana team. It can be said as part of the organization's efforts to train the employees in leadership skills. Another suggestion is for Prasarana to overcome the problem is transparent investigation to the victims and family. In other words, full transparency in reporting means it needs to explain where the facts were obtained and the methods being used in obtaining them. The public must be persuaded by the findings of the investigation team's report. So, in this situation, Prasarana must make sure that the investigation team that in charge of the cases are doing the work following the standard operation procedure, so that any error or mistake can be minimized. This is a life or death situation. It is possible for the LRT operators to ensure that such a malfunction would not occur again.
Now I will explain about conclusion. To summarize from the discussion above, The country acknowledged that the COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact of the number of passengers using the LRT. Prasarana has seen a reduction in use of light rail transit LRT since the implementation of the Movement Control Order MCO in March. Moreover, with the current issue, which is LRT collision, the issues are getting worse and more problems arise. Apart from that, based on the issue that has been highlighted in the discussion where Prasarana needs to take a crucial list is firstly, the communication breakdown between the Operation Control Center OCC and the hostel driver, because all the MRT and LRT system need two-way, continuous and constant communication between the train operators and the control center. Thus, it is important to avoid the same tragedy from happening again in the future. In order to overcome the problems highlighted, Prasarana also need to implement the strategic yet proper strategic plan that can bring more benefit to the organization and save the cost. Prasarana also needs to do the maximum of corrective plan immediately in order to restore trust from the public. From the discussion above, it can be seen that some of the strategic plans taken by the Prasarana to tackle the issue greatly help to improve the organization efficiency. Prasarana should consider doing a periodic training and recertification courses to maintain the efficiency of the OCC and the hostel, risk assessment on the installation of station in train vestibules, and stimulation to evaluate all existing and update SOP will be long-term improvement. It can be seen that Prasarana showed a big effort in order to improve the organization services. This is because Prasarana took some action to react with the issue with some plan, even though Prasarana received a lot of criticism, such as the appointment of the new chairman. That's all from me. Thank you.